Hi guys, welcome back to the Birds Party channel. Today I'm going to share with you some lemon themed farmhouse decor DIYs that are perfect to decorate your home for the season. All the materials and supplies used in this video either purchased online or I already had at home. So hopefully this video will inspire you to do the same and make a great use of your craft stash. With that being said, let's get crafting. And our first lemon farmhouse DIY project is this really pretty, really bright and cheerful little tray. And this tray started off its life as a really battered old tray that I already had at home. As you can see, it's full of dents and scratches. It's not real wood, so because we used it in our kitchen, it kind of got a little bit wet, and the bottom of it, as you can see, got a little bit raised, and I was ready to chuck this tray. And then I decided to make it over. Obviously we can't go out to buy anything at the moment, and I think it's a great exercise to get creative, to get crafting and use materials and supplies you already have at home that perhaps you were going to chuck away as well, or perhaps that you don't love anymore, or that looks a little bit damaged. And all it needs is a little bit of love, a little bit of time, and maybe a little lick of paint to transform it into an object or an item that you can use to decorate your home, and that will make you fall in love with it again. So for this tray I decided to paint it a nice bright yellow because spring is here, and I thought this tray would be perfect for spring and summer. So first I gave it a coat of white chalk paint as a primer, and then I went in with some yellow acrylic paint. I had both paints at home, but obviously feel free to use whatever colors or whatever paints that you have handy. And when I was painting this tray, I decided to create a little diagonal design or motif on the bottom of the tray to give it a little bit more interest and make it a little bit more fun and modern. And for that I'm using some masking tape, and I'm using a small piece of masking tape, as you can see, as a guide so that I can create my lines and be able to paint in between the lines. And if you choose to do something similar and create these kind of designs or patterns on a tray or any other object that you have, just make sure that you go in with your brush in kind of like a stipling motion so that you don't get too much paint in between the tape and the paint doesn't bleed through. Because my tray bottom was quite raised, as you can see, it's inevitable that I was going to get some bleed through, and I knew that when I was painting it, but no big deal because it's just paint. Once the yellow coat is dry, I can go in and touch up with a little bit of white, which I did. So as you can see, when I remove the masking tape, you'll see some bleed through, quite a lot actually in some areas of the tray. But like I said, I went back in with some white paint and touched that up, or with the yellow paint where it needed and touched that up as well. And you can do the same. So, you know, no big deal here. We're just dealing with paint. It's nothing serious. So if you make a mistake, just go back in and correct your mistakes once the paint is dry. And when I was happy with my touch-up job and the whole paint was dry on the tray, I just went in with some matte varnish just to make sure that everything was nicely sealed and that I could use this tray and make it a little bit more functional than it was before. But if you haven't got any varnish at home, you could also use PVA glue or Mod Podge. So make sure to use whatever you have handy and whatever works for you. Now you don't have to do this step, but I decided to paint the bottom of my tray because I decided to make it into a raised tray and add some feet to it. So I thought once I added the feet, you may be able to see all the paint marks underneath, and I didn't want that. So I decided to go in with a little lick of yellow paint. And for the feet, I'm using these large wooden beads, which I already had at home, and you can use doorknobs or little candlesticks or anything else that you may have in your craft stash. Obviously, you can buy something similar online as well. And I'll be sure to leave some links down in the description box to similar items that I'm using today in this video that perhaps you can buy on Amazon or somewhere else online. And for the feet, all I did, as you saw, was to paint all the wooden beads in the same acrylic yellow paint and just let them dry. And once they were dry, I used some strong glue like E6000 and a little bit of hot glue as well, because the hot glue will help it to stick down quicker, and the strong glue will make sure that it adheres permanently and that is really strong and you're able to use your tray on a day-to-day basis. I love how this little transformation turned out. I am so glad I painted this tray and did not chuck it away, and I think it looks so pretty to decorate a little station like a coffee bar or a lemonade bar, or even to use it on a coffee table with some decorative items, or even to serve some drinks, obviously in spring and summer. And our next DIY are these really pretty lemon signs that I used to decorate my tray and to decorate this little vignette over here. And for that, all I did was to create some lemon prints that you can actually find in my shop, and I'll be sure to leave the link down in the description box for you so you can download yours. And it comes with a horizontal, a vertical, a little lemon print that you can use as well for decorating tier trays, mantelpieces, or anywhere else in your home. And it also comes with a large lemon print. And for this DIY, nothing simpler than printing these out. They come already made, so you can choose either the vertical or the horizontal design, and you can just stick it into some really pretty photo frames. And these photo frames I already had at home as well, and I decided to go with the light wood to decorate my tray and this little white photo frame as well. And I love how they turned out, how gorgeous they are, and how simple this DIY was. And obviously you can change the prints inside the frames each season or with different themes to decorate your home. And our next lemon farmhouse DIY is this gorgeous lemon fresh pillow or cushion that you can use to decorate porch, your patio, or your living space. And this lemon design is part of our printable kit, and once again I'll leave the link down in the description box so you can get the same. And all I did was to print it onto some fabric transfer paper that you can buy on Amazon, and this is for light colored fabric because I'm using a white pillowcase or white cushion cover that I already had at home. And all I did was to trim down the design really close to the lemon design. The design is actually a little bit big, as you can see, has some splashes and watercolor marks, but I decided to go really close to the leaves and to the lemon itself to be able to attach it to the front of my cushion cover. And this is such a great DIY, so easy as you can see, and obviously you can change up different pillowcases or cushion covers that you already have at home and just change up the designs to suit different seasons and different holidays. And to adhere your designs to your chosen fabric, all that you do is follow the manufacturer's instructions on the transfer paper packaging. And this usually consists of ironing the design onto your chosen fabric. And here I used some parchment paper to protect my cushion cover just in case my iron was a little bit hot, and sometimes you get some yellow marks, you know, if your iron is not that clean. So obviously I'm using a cushion cover, like I said, to decorate a patio, to decorate a terrace, to decorate your living room. But you could use some tea towels to decorate your kitchen. You could use some napkins to dress up a beautiful table for spring and summer. So your imagination is the only limit here. And I love how this DIY turned out. It was so easy, as you guys saw, and it really helps to tie in a theme and tie in your decor. And our last lemon farmhouse DIY is this super adorable little lemon topiary. I think it looks so high-end and it looks so pretty decorating anywhere in your home for spring and summer. And to make this topiary bowl, I first started with a polystyrene bowl, which I already had at home, and some leaves, which were in my floral stash. I bet you guys have a ton of these lying around, so now is the time to use them. I'm also using some garlands, which I just had in my stash once again. And first thing I decided to do was to cover my polystyrene bowl with the loose leaves. I had these leaves, like I said, and I did not know what to do with them. They'd just been sitting there for years. And instead of painting my polystyrene bowl, which is an option, I decided to use these leaves and make a good use of them to give a great coverage to my polystyrene bowl and make it look a little bit more realistic. Obviously, if you don't have loose leaves like these, you could use paint, of course, but I decided to use the leaves as well because it was a lot quicker than waiting for paint to dry. And normally to paint polystyrene bowl, you have to use 2 or 3 coats to cover the whole thing, so I decided to do it this way. And then I went in with the pieces of garland, and I did not cut the leaves. I just wrapped everything around the polystyrene ball and hot glued the ends in place. So I went in with one piece, then went across with another piece of garland. But obviously this method will depend on what kind of leaves that you have available to you. But the idea is basically to cover the entire polystyrene ball with some faux leaves. And like I said to you, you can pick the leaves off, or you can use garlands if you already have that at home. And at the end I decided to just pick the leaves off and just fill in some of the gaps, as you can see here. So basically there is no precise method for this. You just pick off some leaves and just cover the entirety of the polystyrene ball, making sure that you turn everything to make sure that you cover all the gaps. And for the stems of my little lemon topiary, I just simply went into my yard and grabbed a couple of sticks. Obviously, if you haven't got a yard, haven't got a garden, you can use some barbecue skewers that work just as well, and you can paint it green or even brown as well. And all you do is stick that into the polystyrene ball and add some hot glue to attach everything in place. And I grabbed 2 sticks and decided to attach them together with some floral tape, which I had already at home. You could use some floral wire or some hot glue and strong glue to keep the 2 stems together. I thought that looked a little bit more realistic. And finally, to finish off my little lemon topiary, I just hot glued some of these adorable little lemons that I bought on Amazon, and just filling the gaps in the polystyrene ball with the little lemons. And this pack of lemon came with 20 lemons. It was perfect for this size of topiary. Obviously, if you're making something a little bit larger or a little bit smaller, your number of lemons will vary. This DIY is so easy, as you guys can see, and the trick is to making it look a little bit more realistic is just to basically turn your topiary ball around and see where there are any gaps that you can fill with the lemons. Now for the vase or the bottom of my topiary tree, all that I did was to tightly pack some floral foam into a galvanized vase or bucket that I already had at home to make it look like soil. And the idea here is to really pack it really tightly and use your fingers to make sure that everything is nicely compacted in there, and to weigh it down a little bit. You could use some rocks on the bottom of the pot. I didn't bother because I decided to use some rocks on the top afterwards. And all you're going to do once the whole floral foam is inside the vase or the bucket is to paint it with some black acrylic paint. And I started off painting it with a foam brush, but then I switched to a regular brush because the foam brush was a little bit messy. And you should end up with something that looks like this. And once your paint is dry, you just simply take your topiary and just shove that in the center. Obviously, like I said, you can add some hot glue here and some rocks to weigh it down and make it a little bit more sturdy. And there you have it, you guys, all our beautiful lemon farmhouse DIY project. I think everything looks so adorable together in a little vignette like this, but obviously you can use different elements to decorate a mantelpiece, to decorate a table, to dress a beautiful table for spring or summer, or to decorate a drink station like a lemonade bar or even a coffee bar. I love how easy these projects were, and I hope you guys feel inspired with some of the ideas as well to transform some items that you may already have at home, or maybe make great use of your craft stash. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you like this kind of content. And if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you're notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.